BF and I are child-free, but he admitted he has a pregnancy kink and it's making me uncomfortable and I don't know if I should do something about it. Too long didn't read. BF, 24M, and I, 23F, are asexual and child-free, but he admitted he has a pregnancy kink which is making me uncomfortable, but I don't know if I should do something about it or hide my discomfort till I get used to it. For background, my boyfriend and I are in a long-distance relationship. We've been best friends for 4 years since we met at uni but had to go back home in March. We admitted our feelings to each other around that time and have been dating since. I really think he is it for me for several reasons, but two main reasons. 1, we're both on the asexuality spectrum, between demisexual and asexual, and understand each other's level of comfort when it comes to a physical relationship. 2, we're both strictly child-free. We were talking about our sex life the other day, basically talking about boundaries and stuff, and it sort of moved on to kinks because it's not really easy for either of us to get turned on, so we were trying to figure out what turns us on most, and he admitted he imagines me pregnant. I was really freaked out about it, still am very uncomfortable with it. We talked it out though, and he reiterated that he was strictly committed to a child-free lifestyle and this is just fantasy. He offered to take sex completely off the table till I am more comfortable. I have a lot of trauma from the time I was practically forced to raise my nieces, and I don't want to have raise a child, whether my own or someone else's. I don't want to accidentally get pregnant because abortion is legally very difficult to get in my country. Despite his reassurances, I am scared that I might accidentally get pregnant. Our mutual friend, the third best friend of our group, who knows the whole situation, is telling me to just drop it because 1, we're aces so it's not like we'll be having sex a lot. 2, we're not going to be physically meeting anytime soon, so there's no point in having this discussion right now. 3, I need to try and be more accepting of his kinks because it's difficult for him to get turned on and I should understand that. She said that he's been beating himself up over mentioning this to me because he thinks it's strained our relationship. I don't know what to do. Should I talk to him more about it? Should I drop it and hide my discomfort till I get used to it? I don't want to leave him, he's one of the best things to ever happen to me, but I am really scared of accidentally getting pregnant and I feel like I'm behaving irrationally right now because there isn't anything to be scared about and it's just a fantasy. I'm sort of like your boyfriend, but female. I don't really like children, and have no desire to actually ever have them. But I do have an impregnation kink. It's only about the risk factor or the dirty talk or fantasy really. This isn't something to freak out about just yet. It just means you guys have a lot of deep talks in the future and navigating what you guys like and are comfortable with, as well as being on the same page, etc. etc. I agree with everyone that it needs to be a discussion, but from personal experience, it's totally possible to be into the idea of pregnancy and not actually want it in real life. I'm completely child-free, sterilized, and if I had a miracle pregnancy would be sprinting to get an abortion, but sometimes the idea of pregnancy can be hot to think about. Hopefully this isn't TMI. Haha. Yep, just the idea of taking a risk and being filled with cum gets me off, but being fixed, it's a very low risk. On the tiny chance that life finds a way Jurassic Park style, I will immediately abort. I feel like you're definitely overthinking a bit. You're both adamantly child-free. He's not introducing this into your sex life as a transition to convincing you to have a child. He doesn't want children. You don't want children. That issue is solved, so long as you both make sure to be responsible about birth control. I think it's perfectly fine to have a conversation with him about it though. Let him know that you were a bit uncomfortable, and talking through it would help you process it. Figure out what you're okay with ahead of time. Would you be okay with him imagining that you were pregnant sometimes, so long as he doesn't mention it to you or ask you to roleplay it? If you're not okay with that, can you honestly move forward and trust that he'll never think of you that way? Or are you gonna be worried that's what's going on in his head every time you have sex? Figure out where you stand, and then work your way forward from there. Having this kink isn't incompatible with being child-free. In fact, it does make sense from the POV that risk, danger and taboo things can be a turn-on. and so for someone who doesn't want children the risk of pregnancy is hot. Ultimately, if you have penetrative sex there is a risk you'll get pregnant. That risk isn't amplified by him having this kink, unless, of course, you believe he intends to sabotage your birth control to make it happen, in which case you should obviously immediately end the relationship. I think you seriously just need to have a cool discussion. He expressed clearly that it's just a fantasy and he still wants to be child-free. He's even giving you space so that you can process your feelings and feel comfortable. Just because he fantasizes about pregnancy does not mean he wants to get you pregnant. Chill out, have a conversation, and with that conversation discuss what options you'd like to have if you ever accidentally get pregnant one day. That way you are both on the same page. Another my BF, 28 meters, wants to have a threesome and I, 26F, don't know how to feel about it post. A lot of it comes from him not really believing humans are supposed to be monogamous. Of course I know most men and women have thought or fantasized about having a threesome. I immediately shot down the idea when he told me about it a few months ago, and even he said it would probably cause more problems than solve. Our sex life is great, verified by him that this is the best sex of his life, but this is something he'd be into and he thinks I'd be as well. I honestly do not find females sexually stimulating in that way, but I do watch a lot of porn, so I took a second to rethink. He brought it up again last night and said that he thinks eventually he would be unhappy being with one person the rest of his life. Honestly, I wouldn't be comfortable with this, and I think it would change our relationship and ultimately cause me to fall out of love with him. The added twist to why I can't just say no and be done with it is he had warned me that in his past relationships after a while he starts to wander away from his partner and wonders what it would be like to be with someone else, which has led to cheating and or breaking up. But he also says he sees a future with me, including marriage and children. He has done his research on why humans aren't wired to be monogamous, since we are animals and animals too get bored with their one mate and eventually look for another. He's coming from an honest place, but it does sound like some manipulation in order to get me to do something that I don't want to do in order to keep him. He has big goals to make a lot of money and live a very high lifestyle. He's extremely confident and truly believes he can have whatever he wants in life by working for it. But ultimately this means he thinks he can find another smart, funny, but today I fucked up a woman who might also be into threesomes. I brought up it being MMF and he said he wouldn't enjoy it, but if it was something I wanted he would be okay with it. I'm so sad writing this thinking about it. We are in love and I know that we have a connection that is unmatchable. He says it would be with someone we would both agree on and it would be very communicative. Is there a way this could actually be successful and enhance our relationship? Or is this entirely doomed? How would I have to work on my self-esteem in order to not be completely shattered if we were to try this? Too long didn't read. My boyfriend wants a threesome and backs it up that humans aren't supposed to be monogamous and have sex with one person. I am initially against the idea mostly because I am worried about my self-esteem and jealousy, but don't want to lose him by him either cheating or not being happy in our relationship. What would you do? He's manipulating you into doing something you've made clear you're uncomfortable with. He has big goals to make a lot of money and live thus very high lifestyle. He's extremely confident and has every right to be. Well, isn't he the big man? This sounds like someone who uses the hash of women he's sleeping with / has slept with to boost his ego. He had warned me that in his past relationships after a while he starts to wander away from his partner and wonders what it would be like to be with someone else, which has led to cheating and or breaking up. Oh, so he's a cheater too then? That's just great. His penis got sad and lonely, so of course he cheated. Threesomes and open relationships take a lot of trust and communication. It sounds like he just wants the sex, but to still have you for the general girlfriend responsibilities, like splitting the bills, housework, cooking, etc. If this isn't the lifestyle you want, you need to get out. Do not let him talk you into this if you don't 100% want to do this. Yep, this dude belongs to the streets. Probably has lots of ground to find him discardable on the basis of his relationship history. Yeah, No. And that's simply based on the fact that he says that without it, he'll get bored and cheat. Who the hell can be in a healthy relationship with this hanging over their heads? Sure, many animals have multiple partners. Some are monogamous for their entire lives. Many animals also kill and eat offspring from another male in their clan/pride. If he's telling you that he'll cheat/break up if you don't have a threesome, well, he's telling you who he is. A cheater who can't be trusted. You should believe him and move on. As for his point about animals, many such as bald eagles are extremely monogamous to the point of never replacing a dead mate. But overall he's just a manipulative jerk. He flat told you he will eventually cheat and will end the relationship if you don't start having FFM threesomes. Never let yourself be pressured into doing something sexual you don't want to do. This will cause extreme emotional problems and may bring your sexuality to a dead stop. It's like suffering from sexual trauma and has similar results. I really think you should strongly consider finding a partner who more closely shares your own sexual values. A future with this guy is going to be painful. But ultimately this means he thinks he can find another smart, funny, boated AI fucked up a woman who might also be into threesomes. So basically he's told you you're replaceable, on top of trying to convince you that jealousy is unnatural and he'll probably likely cheat. This doesn't sound like a keeper even if you were into threesomes. Self-esteem doesn't mean that you're totally okay with polyamory/non-monogamy. Self-esteem means you have the confidence and self-worth to establish your boundaries and stick to them. Quiescing because he gaslit you into believing your need for monogamy is unnatural and irrational is going to run your self-esteem in the ground, and he's probably going to end up cheating and leaving you whatever you do. He told you it's probably going to happen. When he does, he'll probably say, I told you I do this, so you really have no one to blame but yourself for how bad you feel right now. My partner, 31 male, of 6 months told me he's been thinking about how badly he wants a family but not necessarily with me, female 26. So my partner from the beginning has talked about how he's wanted kids his entire life. So much so that he broke up with his last girlfriend because she didn't want kids. He's also known that I never want to have kids but I have expressed interest in adopting someday. He still went into this relationship knowing that dating me probably means he'll never have a family. He said in the beginning that I was worth giving up that, but recently he's expressed to me that it's been on his mind a lot and it's changing the way he acts towards me / not showing me a lot of affection. I'm just worried because I was planning to move out of the city that we live in but stayed here for him and found a new job. Our relationship seems so perfect in every other way. I've never met someone who I want to spend my life with until him. I guess I'm just lost and feel hurt because I feel like I'm not worth it anymore. Too long didn't read. Literally can't compromise on this, so you'd better figure out together if any of it is a deal breaker. Family is a super big deal to some people. I know my husband probably wouldn't have married me if I didn't want a family. It's just a basic incompatibility. I'm getting some serious disentanglement vibes from what you're writing about your partner's behavior. I think I tried to ramp up the communication and do my best to protect myself. Disagreement on wanting kids is a deal breaker. He's probably at the point where the honeymoon period is ending and he's starting to realize he wants kids more than he wants to be with you specifically.